It's been a little bit less than 12 months since the release of the highly divisive Last of Us Part 2. Now, that game had a lot of controversy surrounding it leading up to the launch of the game and post-launch of the game. And now we have a very recent interview from the writer of Last of Us Part 2, Neil Druckman, or as I and many others like to call him, Neil Cuckman, where he discusses the possibility of Last of Us Part 3 and the fact that they have indeed already written an outline for the basic plot of the game. So this comes from IGN, and they're basically covering what Neil Druckman said on a podcast known as the Script Apart podcast. So The Last of Us Part 3 has a plot, but it's not being made just yet. So Naughty Dog has written a story outline for Last of Us Part 3, but isn't making the sequel right now. Creative director Neil Druckman says he hopes it can one day see the light of day. Speaking on an episode of the Script Apart podcast about the writing of Last of Us Part 2, Druckman touched briefly on the possibility of a sequel, and he says, "I don't know how much I want to reveal. Co-writer Haley Gross and I did write an outline for a story, but we're not making it, but I hope that one day it can see the light of day that explores a little bit of what happens after this game. We'll see." Now, Neil Druckman says there's been quite a lot of discussion internally about a Part 3, but pointed out how much work is involved in making a game like this a reality. These games take so much to make. Part 2 I've been thinking about for 7 years between when the last game came out and how this one came out. You want to make sure you're jazzed by the idea that you have and that it feels like it's challenging. We've now had 2 games that I feel speak to something universal as well as a very personal story for these characters. With 1 game, there's no pattern of what a franchise is. With 2 games, there's starting to become a pattern. Now, I feel like there are some structural and thematical themes you have to stick to if you're going to make a 3rd game. Now, it seems that Naughty Dog is exploring what to do next. After we finish one of our big titles, Druckman explains, we have taken a long time to explore different ideas. Whether it's going to be a Last of Us 3, whether it's going to be something new, whether there's some old franchise we want to go back to. I like to fully explore all of those, then look at it like, okay, we have all of these ideas in front of us. As a studio, what do we want to commit to? Because it's a huge commitment, monetary, time, passion, talent. So you think about all those opportunities and the costs that come along with doing that. Now, while I personally do believe that Neil Druckman does have a rough idea and probably has written a basic outline of where he would like to go with Last of Us Part 3. I feel a lot of this is him speaking out of his ass. I feel that this is just typical Neil Druckman, kind of trying to make himself more important than what he actually is. Now, if there was to be a Last of Us Part 3, I would be very interested to see how that game will go. Last of Us Part 2 was always going to be a success, following up to the critically acclaimed and much beloved the original Last of Us. So Last of Us Part 2 was always going to do well, but Part 2 being as divisive as it was, I feel it's lost a good chunk of its fan base, and it'll be very interesting to see how Part 3 will perform if it ever sees the light of day. I think it's very possible this game will actually end up being released, hopefully. Between then and now, there's a huge shake-up at Naughty Dog, and fans of the Last of Us franchise can actually get a game that's worthy of the title of The Last of Us, and that's just assuming that there's any recovery from Last of Us Part 2. But what do you guys make about all this? Drop your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to subscribe, share the video around with a big thumbs up, check out geeksandgamers.com, all that good stuff, and I will see you all in the next video.